Hello, Crash Talk 3D family. Welcome back. Every time we behind these microphones, we step into a space where truth is not just spoken, it's lived. Today's conversation is one of the reminders that we quickly life can change, how fragile our moments are, and how powerful resilience can be when we release to when we refuse to break. Before we introduce our guests, I want to pause and bring in the voice that grounds this platform, Michael. You're always a help to our listeners of understanding why these stories matter. Take a moment and give your story and introduce yourself.
If I'm the voice of grounding in this program, we're all in trouble. All right. Good evening or good morning, whenever you're watching this. Michael Gersh, I'm a survivor of a drunk driving crash that killed my mother when I was 8 weeks old, nearly myself. I do a program called The Magical Life for anyone that wants to do it. I'm a comedian, author, and speaker and college educator as well. So I'm very happy that you joined us once again for this wonderful podcast with our guest, Jacy Good.
Thank you, Michael. Your voice continues to anchor this mission. All right, listeners, today we welcome a woman whose story has traveled across the nation, not because of fame, but because of the undeniable truth she carries. Jacy Good survives a crash that claimed the lives of both her parents and left her fighting for her own. The cause is distracted driving, making a careless choice that changed everything. But Jacy did not let tragedy silence her. She turned her pain into purpose, because becoming one of the strongest voices in America for distracted driving prevention. One of her greatest accomplishments is her national advocacy work through Hang Up and Drive. The movement and she co-founded with her husband Steve to educate communities, schools, lawmakers, and families about the deadly consequences of distracted driving. Jacy, we honor your courage. We honor your voice, and we honor the way you have transferred unimaginable loss into a mission that continues to save lives. I want you to open the floor now, and please tell us your story and the day of May 18th. By the
Yes, thank
way, that
you.
is a day after my birthday.
Oh my. 2008. You're just 18 years old too, right?
No, I like it. I like it. Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
all right. So May 18th is my college graduation. So that was the day I had been working for my whole life. And we had this incredible morning with, my family was all together celebrating. And it's like my parents having lunch with my boyfriend's parents as we're kind of like figuring out life moving forward together because we had life planned. I got hired to work for a Habitat for Humanity. So I'm going to move from Pennsylvania, where I grew up, to New York. And we'll get married and have those kids that we had kind of spent the last 4 years talking about and planning on this life. So my parents and I started this 90-minute drive back home. It's the last time we're ever making that trip. And I'll say we got like halfway home. It was a Sunday afternoon. We stopped at a gas station, and there's really nothing exciting about that one memory except that I'll say it's the very last memory that I actually have. The next thing I can remember is coming to in a hospital, and I don't understand why I'm in the hospital or what's happened or even when it is. It's now July. It's 2 months after that graduation day where I don't have a single memory of my own. I would slowly come to learn that my parents and I didn't make it home from my graduation, that we had been in a car crash. Somebody talking, actually, I learned a young man talking on his hands free phone, both hands on the steering wheel. He was looking out his windshield. So he saw his red light and he stopped at his red light. But then it was like he was so distracted in his brain, he kind of treated it like a stop sign. So he turned left through his red light. The truck driver coming toward him swerved, still hit the front of that young man's car, but then lost control. And it was my family's car that the truck driver ended up hitting head on. I would later learn through all of this, a paramedic happened to live nearby, and that man at the time, that stranger, is the reason I'm alive. That when he got to our car, my parents had both already passed. Were not breathing, were no longer alive. I had a really strong pulse, but I wasn't breathing. But that man happened to be a paramedic and kept me alive that afternoon. Since that day, he's become a very dear friend of mine, thankfully. Learning how all of this happened and kind of working through those months in hospitals and then years of rehabilitation to try and get back something close to the life that I had worked to build and the things that I was dreaming of doing. And suddenly it didn't seem like it was going to be possible. I had brain trauma that left me at like kindergarten level intelligence. And so trying to figure out how to regain my intelligence and my independence because I had brain trauma that to this day paralyzes the left side of my body. So it was like, I got to figure out how to do everything, but with half of what I used to have. And I can accept that that means that I won't be able to run anymore. But it's a little harder to say, all right, how are you going to open a can when you don't have a hand to hold the can opener shut? You can't do these things that you used to be able to do. And learning through all of this, all right, I can work hard. I'll be able to get back a life, an independent life. But feeling this need to do something more and learning really in those early hospital days as this is a big story. It had a large impact on the community with the losses of my parents who were incredibly beloved in our community. It got a lot of press. So sort of my name was out there a lot at that point. And one of the first things I started fighting for was trying to get a law passed in Pennsylvania because
Okay.
there had been no law regarding phones and driving. So the whole system of district attorneys and all those judges and everything, no criminal charges against other drivers, even though they had both broken laws, which kind of didn't make sense to me. So 2008, I think only a handful of states had phone bans in place. But like I know at that point, New York had a ban in place because my boyfriend lived there. I was about to move there. And you could see it made a difference when there was a law in place.
Okay.
So I testified in the Pennsylvania state capitol trying to get a law put in place, and it did not succeed now, 17 years ago. It took until this summer finally to get that law put in place. And I worked hard on it, but I got to give credit. So many other families got involved. Yes, finally. So finally that's in place. But I guess even though when I testified way back years ago, it didn't get the law in place then, but it did sort of get me out there as a advocate on this issue. And the more I shared, the more I got to share. Eventually it led to the Oprah Winfrey Show, which absolutely changed my life. And it's so strange because now I go to a high school and I show a picture of me with Oprah. Guys, the kids don't know who Oprah is, and it blows my mind. But I'll say after that, some maybe high school PTA organizations saw me on Oprah and asked if I would come and speak to the health classes. It sounded terrifying, right? Like public speaking is so scary. At that point, really, I was too brain injured, like physically, emotionally. I would not have been able to go and speak to a health class. So I said, all right, I'll come and do it. But is it all right if my boyfriend comes to kind of help me out? So that kid from college that I had dated all those years was still around, thankfully. And he agreed to kind of come and give the other perspective of what it was like getting the first phone call or having to basically identify my body in the hospital and then being by my side as I went through all this rehabilitation. And we found that it was really powerful to have something more than just a survivor or a loved one, but to have that other perspective and to make a high school boy think, all right, if something like this happened to my girlfriend, would I stick around? Will I make a ponytail for my girlfriend every time she wants a ponytail if she can't do that? And so just trying to find all these perspectives that we can add to be as impactful as we possibly can. So sharing our lives to this day, 18 years later, trying to have this positive impact. And I'll say one of the biggest responses we've been getting of late, even though it's been so long, students and adults that we meet telling us, please keep sharing this story, that this is so important and we need to keep talking about this. So that's sort of my big overarching story.
So when did hang up, am I saying it right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hang up and
and
drive.
drive, yes. So when did that come about?
So I think we officially established ourselves in 2011.
Okay.
Crash was 2008. Oprah was 2010. And so that was when we kind of started doing this. And we just thought it was like, all right, we'll do it a couple times and try and do something positive. But then the more we did it, the more people kept asking us to do it. And it was like, all right, we can't work those jobs that we thought we were going to work. So our lives are going to look a little different. We kind of tried to throw ourselves into this and really have been able to build something that I think we're both really proud of.
I seen your the commercial that she, Mike, I don't know if you've seen it, but her commercial that she did was sitting down with teenagers, am I correct?
Yes.
And I love it.
I have
And
seen it.
You,
It's very
that's
powerful.
legit. I'll say that's legit. Like they had those kids quarantined, so they did not know what they were walking into, and they stayed in touch. That like it had an impact on them, and it's really cool to have gotten to be part of that.
yes, it was very emotional. I mean, it was very impactful when I
Mm,
first seen it. And
good.
this is before I met you. Um, well, today I'm meeting you, but but yes, it was very impactful. What are you doing? What's what's your next event that you're doing with Hang Up and Drive?
My next event, summer is always a little quieter, but this week
Okay.
is sort of we pack all the work into smaller spaces. It makes life a little easier. So this week is tomorrow is a speech to middle and high school students in a youth camp program run by the local police station in my town in Greenburgh, New York.
Okay.
Um, to go and talk to them about, a lot of these kids are interested in possibly a future career in policing, but also just trying to tell them when they start to drive, as they're learning how to drive, how important it is to keep their attention on the road.
So what's a message that you really send to them that you feel like it gives a change or you feel something that and they can relate to that they're grasping to?
Something that I get a really big response
Mhm.
from is sharing the part of the story that when we left that gas station, my mom had not put her seatbelt back on.
Oh.
Um, And it's the kind of thing. So she grew up in the 50s and 60s. It was like the cars didn't have seatbelts back then. So she always put her seatbelt on. It maybe just took a couple minutes into the drive and it hadn't happened yet on that drive. So I sort of share the idea that, like, if something like this happened to you, what about the people around you? That I'll spend the rest of my life wondering if I would still have my mom if she had had that seatbelt on. And you don't want to leave the people who love you with a question like that.
Mhm. Okay. Michael?
I have a bunch of questions. I guess the first one I have is, has your husband's ponytail skills improved over the years?
Yes. And it's ironic because in our college days, he had a ponytail himself. You'd think he'd be able to do this, but
Well, it's probably a little bit different. You're doing it yourself by feel, and then someone else. And then I was wondering if you just said just cut your hair short so I don't have to do it. If that was ever an option as well. But
thankfully, I've gotten pretty good at it myself. It took
Okay, I
a
can
lot of
see. I can
experimentation,
see.
but
so
yes, yeah, I've
so
gotten better at instructing him to get him to be able to
all right.
make me a passable ponytail.
That was a recent question I had.
Yes.
Since you were talking, so the couple of them, how it had to be extremely frustrating for all those years to testify and not having the law passed. I can almost guess what your inspiration was, but just to tell our viewers what kept you inspired, motivated year in and year out till it was passed. Even though I could probably guess, but still.
It was just, it hurt so bad and it didn't need to. Like nobody else needed to feel this. And it broke my heart so much to be watching other families going through this and then connecting with those families and thinking that if we could get this law in place, that maybe it could get people to change, traveling to other states and seeing that when you put the law in place, it does seem to change people. But then also traveling other places where there are really strong laws and still people keep using their phones. So I've kept
Mm.
fighting for the law, but really focused so much more on education, trying to get people to care enough to change the way that they drive, no matter what the law is, wherever they are.
Right, because the law could only do so much. It's really human behaviors that we have to
Yeah,
change, right? Because
Mhm.
there's laws against
exactly.
murder and rape. It goes on and on, but as
Yeah.
a society, we have to change. So being a fellow advocate, you know how hard it is, but that motivation of you don't want other families to go through the same pain and trauma that we've been through.
Hmm.
Speaking of pain and trauma, you travel a lot, and I always enjoy reading your stories. Can you share with us one of your better travel stories that you've had?
There's so many. How can I pick a better, a best travel story? One of the more recent ones is we had work up in Canada, in Montreal. I mean, this was just
Oh,
insane. It was awesome. We had a really good event, and then we had managed to get a flight the same day to fly back home. And it was delayed. They canceled the first flight. There was weather in the Northeast, and it seemed like we were going to get home. They delayed the flight, then they canceled the flight, then they rebooked us on the next flight at like 7 p.m. Okay, we're gonna get home. So then they canceled that flight too. Then they rebooked us on a different airline somehow. I didn't know that was an option. So we get on this little propeller plane to take us back to New York. And we flew, it's only like, I don't know, an hour flight, a little more than an hour. So we flew for like 45, 50 minutes. And then they come on the PA and they say, okay, the weather's still too bad. We're going back to Montreal. So then we flew back to Montreal and they said, okay, you can deplane and spend the night or try and find a different flight home. Now it's like 10 p.m. Or if you want to, we're going to try again. Just stay on the plane and 45, 50 minutes we'll fly again. And hopefully the weather has improved. So we stayed on the plane and like 5 hours after we boarded that airplane, finally finished this hour flight back to New York. That one was insane. That's not necessarily the kind of story we're looking for, though, right? But
no,
that's one of the
well,
crazy travel
yeah, it's
stories.
yeah. I mean, that was I remember reading that one, but I read those and I went, you know what? I don't know if I want to, be a speaker full time anymore. The way travel is, when so often. So it makes me nervous about that.
Mm.
What continues to keep you inspired?
Mhm.
Something that young people will often ask me is, isn't it so painful to talk about this? Like, how can you keep talking this? Doesn't it make it hurt so much more? And yeah, it is painful to talk about, but it hurts whether I'm talking about it or not. And so I've just got this fire in me that if I'm able to keep sharing this story, that it might be able to have an impact to change someone just a little bit to make if we can make our roads a little safer. I think it's going to make our world better in ways that we can't even imagine for all of us.
Right.
What message would you want to give families who grieving because of distracted driving?
Mm, you're not alone. There are so many of us out there everywhere I go, and we've been all over the country, hundreds and hundreds of locations. And everywhere we go, we're meeting people who have lost a loved one, who know this senseless pain, um, and that you can have a purpose. I think it's really important that we all share our stories because maybe this happened to you, but your classmates sitting around you don't know that you lost your uncle when you were a kid and how that changes you. That might change everyone around you too.
So
So
speaking
true.
about people going around the world, is your program grant based? How can people find you, or how can they book your program?
Depends where you are. It depends what year it is. The past bunch of years, we've had federally funded work out in the state of Oregon. The Hawaii Department of Education has funding. In New York State, we work under the Students Against Destructive Decisions organization. So it's kind of wherever we go, someone finds a way to make it happen.
Okay.
Provide our listeners how they can contact you or reach
Yes.
you.
So my website is hangupanddrive.com. Just all those words spelled out. I stole that, honestly. My dad had a bumper sticker. Even before cell phones were a thing, my dad found this bumper sticker and loved it, so he bought it. Um, I'm the only Jacy Good out there somehow, so I'm sorry I didn't take my husband's last name. There are a couple other Jacy Johnsons out there, and I like being the only Jacy Good. So on any social media, I'm out there trying to share this message.
Well, look, once you've been on Oprah, you got to keep the name, right? I mean,
Exactly.
let's just be honest.
Yes.
Even Google have you down. All I said was
Mm.
JC Good. JC Good. She is an advocate.
Oh yeah, they know me. Cool.
Yep, Google got you down.
So what's next for you besides speaking? What else would you and continuing to share your story, which is so impactful to save lives? What else would you like to do with your story journey?
I would love to write a book. I know it's kind of what a lot of people work toward. I don't know that I have the writing skills to do that. And I thought, my husband and I we've been doing this for 16 years. And he kept saying, like, well, wait for some big life event to have a reason to write a book to get to that big life event. And I thought when we got married, maybe that would be the big life event. But that was 12, 13 years ago. So that wasn't a big enough life event. So now we have to like slow down for enough time to actually take the time to write the book and all that. So it hasn't happened yet, but I hope that someday that might happen.
All right, so I'm going to do to you what my friend Greg Morton did to me in the
Oh
late
my.
90s at the comedy club. He heard my story and he made me promise to write a book and he wouldn't let go of my hand as we're speaking until I said I wrote it. It took me 20 years to write it because I'm a procrastinator and I love naps. So I'm going to tell you, you're going to promise me today on this podcast, I don't care how long it takes,
All right, all right.
you are going to fulfill, you are going to promise me, yes, Michael, I will write this book.
All right. I like that. I will write this book and I can make that promise. So long as I don't have a deadline, because
No.
I don't know how I could get that
Oh,
done.
yeah, by next
My
week.
big goal, we've spoken in 44 states. I'd love to hit 6 more states, get to every state,
Right.
Okay.
keep seeing
You
the country.
When you're flying and you're delayed for hours, perfect time to do it, right? Your husband
yeah.
can be working on your ponytail
Yeah,
and he could
yeah.
be, there's all this technology now where you don't have to type per se. You can just
Hmm.
record and it will do it
Talk.
for you. So there's a
It's
whole bunch
true.
of ways to do it. So no more excuses. I don't know what, I'm going to be on you a lot, bugging you to check up on you, right? Because that's what my
Mm.
friend Greg did. And when
All
I eventually
right. I
published
like
it,
it.
I self-published it in 2019, and the response you get, I mean, there's a different when you're sharing your program on stage, when you write it, and I think those emotions get out. And I had a writing
Mm-hmm.
coach, which I go hook you up with her. The first time I wrote it, she goes, "You wrote it as a speaker, now you're going to write it as a writer." I was like, "Well, what
Mm.
the heck does that mean?" And she pushed me hard, and it was always paint the scene, right? So, but yeah, it doesn't have just keep writing. You can do the editing later, just little bits and pieces.
All
But
right. All
yep,
right.
I'm gonna keep you um, towards that goal of writing. But
All
the
right. Thank
story
you.
has to be told
Yeah.
that way, and you only have a certain amount of time on stage to talk.
Mm-hmm.
So your book be so much more
Yeah.
and so impactful. And people may want
Mhm.
that, and it's a beautiful thing to have to give your legacy onto someone to help
Yeah.
save more lives. And with all kidding aside, as someone who's shared their story, I'm going to get emotional now. And you know how it is once someone reads it and gives you that thank you or you changed my life. There's nothing better than that,
Mm-hmm.
JC.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
your story has to be down on
Mm.
and I will help you any way I can,
Thank
keep you
you.
inspired any way I can, but it's going to get done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to do it. I know a pastor, I heard a pastor say more stories are at the graveyard than people.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
cannot let your everything up here stay there. You got to get out so that it could be your continued legacy of hang up and drive.
All right. I like it.
Yeah. I thought Steve was going to come on with you. You tell him we missed him.
He's camera shy. He leaves.
Okay.
He does all the emails, and then I do all the like public
Okay,
space stuff.
all right. Well, how are we good on time?
We have about 5 more minutes.
Okay. Did you want to ask another question before I close us out?
I do.
Yes, go ahead.
The other question I have is everything you do in sharing your story as a speaker, take us back from the very first time. How have you seen you grow with confidence in your story over the last, many years you've been doing this?
Mm.
Because we don't set out to be a speaker, but how do you think you've grown professionally and personally as a speaker?
I think one of the most important things we did was pretty early on. We went out to the National Safety Council in Illinois, and they had like a proper training of how you can present these personal stories and add the science and make it really impactful and not just, a scare tactic or a sob fest. You can use these stories and have a really big impact, and learning how to do that effectively. That really changed us. And since then, it feels like every presentation we do is a little bit different from the one before to try and match whoever we're talking to. Um, so it's certainly, definitely gotten more confidence. I've gotten better at speaking because for a long time, like that was one of the impacts of the brain injury, that speaking was really difficult for me. I drink more caffeine now, which was definitely helpful. So that gets me through some of those tougher days.
You're not drinking like those big energy monster drinks.
Oh,
Those energy
no,
Oh,
never.
okay, good. Don't drink.
We're
Straight
talking
up,
like
straight up.
coffee or a Coke or
Yeah.
something like that. All right.
Coffee and tea are my go-tos.
All right. So my last question, it goes back to travel. What's your favorite travel hack you have for that you love to use?
My favorite travel hack. It's
Something
sort of
that,
cheesy.
yeah, that's okay.
I love instant coffee, and it can go with me everywhere I go and always be good. And also Uncrustables, those little like pre-made peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are so easy to grab
Oh,
and just
I love
always.
those. I like the
Yes,
honey one. I know exactly what you're talking about.
yes. The honey ones are the best ones, and they're hard to find, but yes.
See? You could do a whole chapter in your book about this, by the way. So you already have one chapter right there.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's fun. I'm sorry, that's a good one. I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
I don't leave home without them. It makes life so much better.
So which one's your favorite? The
The
gravy?
honey ones, the honey
The
ones are
honey,
so
yes.
good. They don't sell them at my supermarket, so I have to go like farther out to find them. But when I do, I buy
I
them.
just bought
I'm going to confess, I never had one.
Mm, you're missing out.
some.
No,
You're
I'm going to
missing
write it
out.
down. I'm going to go with honey. I'm going to go out to the store tomorrow, and I'm going to look for it,
Mhm.
get one.
Oh, well, JC, thank you for your strength, your honesty, your willingness to just tell your story. I must say, you're very touching, very lovable woman, and I know you're touching many lives. Keep doing what you're doing. It's not going unseen. You're doing a phenomenal job of
Mm.
impact. Oh, by the way, have you hit Texas yet?
Yes, been
Okay,
to
so you
Texas
hit
a few
my state.
times.
Okay, so
Yes, thank you.
my state's not one of the six then. Okay. But your voice is a reminder that awareness is not optional, it's life-saving.
Mm,
Your advocacy continues to echo across communities, classrooms, and the legislative halls, and you are honored. I want to say that to share this space with you. I'm feel honored. I know Michael and I both do.
thank you.
And to our listeners, thank you for choosing truth and choosing responsibility and for choosing to be part of our conversation on today to protect lives. Until next time, stay present, stay aware, and stay safe. As I say, you survived the moment that tried to break
Mhm.
you. Breathe. Your story isn't over. It's shifting. Don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe. Crash Talk 3D. Until we see you again. Thank you. Much love to you, JC. Hold on.
And